everybody, welcome back to Music Parenting. Hope everybody's doing well and staying warm and safe out there. This week I want to talk to you about two different types of instruments. One that you will definitely be dealing with now, and one that you may or may not be dealing with in a couple years to maybe 5 or 6 years. Either way, it's important to know the differences because at some point somebody's going to want to sell you something that you may not need. So let's talk about student model horns versus professional model horns. Now, the first thing you have to know is that there is absolutely a difference between a professional model horn and a student model horn. I mean, just the names alone, but it also comes down to the type of material that the instrument is made of, the cost of the instrument itself, the cost for repairs, the expectancy for repairs, and quite frankly, the overall value of it all. Not only financial, but also what it can mean for your students. Think about it like this. If you have a student driver and a professional driver, you're not going to hand over that student driver a $625,000 Ferrari SF90. But at the same time, you're not going to hand over to the professional driver for them to drive in a big race a Honda Fit that costs $17,000. At the very basic level, a student model horn is made of acceptable materials. Now, not bad materials, but you're not looking at leather interior, of a car. You're not looking at high performance engines. You're looking at the very basics because the student is still trying to figure out, where do I put my fingers? Or how do I hold my body? Or how do I hold the instrument? And so a student model horn is usually made of very sturdy material because they know it's a student and it'll probably be passed from one student to the other if it's a school instrument. So it's made to be bumped. It's made with the expectancy that the repairs are going to be often, so they're not going to have to be that expensive, but they are going to happen. Now, a professional model horn is going to be made of material that is sometimes decades old, if not hundreds of years old, and it's going to be made with a more careful eye on the craftsmanship, on the balance of the horn, and how the materials are treated, not only by the manufacturer, but by the player as well. A professional model horn is not expected to be dropped. It's not expected to be bumped. And again, just like with the Ferrari, if you use it right, if it's in the right hands, it's going to perform marvelously. But if something were to happen and that Ferrari gets bumped or something breaks, it's not a cheap repair. Now, we're not saying that the professional model horn is going to be thousands and thousands of dollars of repairs, but it'll definitely be more expensive than it is on a student model horn. A student model horn is going to be made for anybody to use, and the very basic use for it is to get out a sound. It's not going to be the greatest sound and not necessarily the most in tune sound, but it will get the sound and it will get the young students to understand how to create the sound. Now, the professional model horn is made with a lot more finesse, and it's made to react more and to work more with that musician, particularly one musician. And again, you're not expecting that instrument to bounce around from player to player. You're not expecting it to be manhandled so much. You're definitely not expecting it to be dropped or bumped. And the student model horn, quite frankly, is probably going to be made by a machine and in mass. Whereas the professional horns, they're going to be more handcrafted. In general, both types of instruments will have a required maintenance, and there will be general costs for that. When you look at prices, this is where you're going to see a big difference. And again, you have to keep in mind, you get what you pay for. So yes, you will see saxophones, clarinets, flutes, trumpets for about $100. And you're going to get a $100 instrument. The clarinet will probably be plastic. And while it's good if you just want to learn how to hold a clarinet and how to make the sounds and the general notes of it, fine. If you're looking to perform in a concert, you are not going to use a plastic clarinet. Now, in the end, the materials matter. And so yes, you are going to see, like I said, the $100 instruments, but you're going to see $200, $300, $400 instruments. And some of the $500 instruments are the good student model horns. A student model horn could, at a certain point, impede a student's progress. The student model horn is made for students. It's made for them to just learn the basics. But when you get into a little bit beyond the basics, then you start to have some issues. For a saxophone, there are these lower keys. When you can even hear, as all the notes, all the keys close, it gets deeper and darker, even without this in the bell. So again, so in order for a student to get the air through the horn and have it react the way it needs to, you have to have certain skills. You have to have that embouchure the way it needs to be. You have to have the air support, but you also have to have, in this case, a saxophone that can react to it. There have been a number of times where I've had a saxophone student playing a student model horn and just couldn't get those low notes out. And I knew that they had gotten to the point where they should be able to play those notes. They had learned enough. They have developed their embouchure and their diaphragm and their air quality to where they should be able to hit those notes. So what I do often is I give them my horn just to try. Take off my mouthpiece. They put theirs on and they play, and suddenly they can hit those low notes. And that's a good indication that they have outgrown the student model horn. And there have been times now that I get to that point with the student and realize, okay, this student model horn can no longer keep up with your progress. So now it's time to move up. So we start looking at an intermediate horn, maybe a semi-professional horn, and maybe, depending on, again, certain milestones are met, we'll go look at some professional model horns. But in the end, it's really important to have that open communication with the student, with the private teacher, with the band director or orchestra director, because at a certain point, again, it is the instrument. It may seem like, oh, they're complaining because, oh, I can't do this, it's the instrument. Sometimes it's the student's not trying hard enough, or they can be really trying their hardest, and it's just the instrument just doesn't know how to react to that, and it can't. So I'd say definitely talk with your private lessons teacher, talk with the ensemble director, ask them, hey, where is the student in that progress, and is it in fact the instrument that's holding them back? In that case, it may be time for an upgrade. And again, it doesn't have to be a jump from student to professional. You have different levels in between, but again, finding out which one will be best for your student, not only where they are, but where they want to go. When I bought my first professional model saxophone, it was a 1948 Selmer saxophone. The horn was made in 48. I bought it in 93. I was a sophomore in high school, and I had gotten to the point that I was being limited, actually, by the student horn that I was using. My horn that I bought, or that my parents bought, it cost $2,600. The last time I had the horn appraised for insurance purposes, it came out to about $6,800. Now, that's not saying that's how they all happen. Now, those type of instruments are professional models, and so there's the expectancy that they're not being passed around from student to student. It is high quality, and so as long as it's being taken care of, it's going to appreciate in value. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. And to make sure we get as many people involved as possible, hit the subscribe button, tell all your friends about it, and tell them to hit that bell so that they know when the next videos are coming up. And also, don't forget to check out our quick tip videos over on our Instagram page, which is Instagram at music_parenting. Thanks again for stopping by. Stay warm out there, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, bye-bye.